And this is what he found. He found that fungi, like Candida albicans, we're all aware of them, like fungi or mycobacteria, like tubercular bacteria, are the oldest microbes. So consequently, they only populated the oldest tissue that is controlled from the oldest part of the brain. And the moment the organ-related conflict is resolved, these fungi and TB bacteria begin to remove the tumor. In other words, these fungi and TB bacteria have been trained over the course of evolution to remove the tumor. In order to understand this even better, we have to realize the following. The tumor that grows during the active phase, like a lung tumor, like a colon tumor, like a liver tumor. So a tumor that grows during the conflict active phase consists of what we would call disposable cells. Because these cells are only meant to be there for the time being. They're only there to facilitate a conflict resolution and in fact improve the function of the organ during the conflict active time. And these disposable cells, they look in size and in shape different from the original cells, and that is important. Because the tubercular bacteria, they recognize them as different and decompose only those. In fact, it gets even better than that. In fact, the moment we have the conflict, the moment the DHS occurs, the tubercular bacteria multiply parallel to the tumor growth. The TB bacteria, they multiply at the same rate as the tumor grows, so that when the conflict is resolved, there will be the sufficient amount of bacteria available to decompose the tumor. So now, of course, we are seeing symptoms. Okay? During the conflict active phase, there's never a symptom. There is a tumor, there is a growth, but we will never hear about people with a liver tumor or a lung tumor or so forth that they have any pain or anything. They don't feel the tumor at all. Okay? But this changes the moment the conflict is resolved and the person goes into healing. Because the remnants of the tumor, so the remnants of this decomposing process have to be eliminated, causing discharge. So tubercular discharge is therefore typically expelled when a lung cancer is in healing. It is expelled through the sputum. When a colon tumor is being removed and decomposed, the discharge and the tubercular discharge is then in the stool. If a kidney tumor or a prostate tumor is being removed, the tubercular discharge is in the urine. Often this decomposing process and breaking down the tumor process, so to speak, is accompanied with blood loss. There is potentially blood in the discharge, because we have to realize it is as I like to call it, a construction site. And these small capillaries, they break easily, causing bleeding. Of course, bleeding also always has to be watched, but how important it is to understand that all this, when there's blood in the discharge, is a part of a healing process that is taking place. Another typical symptom that occurs in the healing phase when tubercular bacteria are involved are night sweats. So if there is a big tumor that has to be decomposed, these night sweats can be excessive. So again, how important is it to know that night sweats are not a bad sign? On the contrary, we now know that there is a healing process underway and that tubercular bacteria are in the picture. Okay? So if we don't have the tubercular bacteria, if we don't carry the TB bacteria or the fungi because of an overuse of antibiotics, what is the consequence? The result, as a result of not carrying these bacteria or fungi, the tumor cannot be decomposed and encapsulates. And such an encapsulated tumor can, as you can imagine, be found years later through a routine checkup. For example, through a lung X-ray, a mammogram, a colonoscopy, and so forth, right? And then, of course, it can cause new shocks, it can cause cancer shocks, and as a result, new cancers. So it is important what the biological process here is, and that we realize why the tumor cannot be decomposed.